Welcome back to another episode of Scriptures for Addicts. Today we're going to find out how 10 virgins are going to keep us sober. Here in Matthew 25, me and a friend was talking about it the other day. He wanted to know what I thought about it, and I said, hey, I'll take a look. And what a look I have taken. It's freaking something else, this. At least for me it was. Then the kingdom of heaven will be like 10 virgins who took their lamps and went to meet the bridegroom. 5 of them were foolish, thoughtless, silly, and careless. And 5 were wise, far-sighted, practical, and sensible. I like the fact that he mentions far-sightedness as being wise, because not a whole bunch of addicts are far-sighted. Very much immediate gratification now, get me out of this feeling, I don't care what happens, just get me out of the now. But to be able to look forward, to run the tape forward, see how you'll feel afterwards. That familiar shame, the sinking anxiety that I feel. Or to even be able to look forward to the next coming of Jesus. Or our presence and our gifts given to us in heaven. Can I see that far? Because it's wise if I can keep my mind on the prize. Sobriety. Or what I really would like. Do I really want a healthy, loving relationship with a woman, but I settle for porn, masturbation, what I can get today? Do not store up for yourself treasures on earth, where moth and vermin destroy, and where thieves break in and steal. Store up for yourself treasures in heaven, where moth and vermin do not destroy, and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where the treasure is, there your heart will be also. So, where is your heart? Is your heart in heaven, in love, in God? Or is it in worldly things, in other people's validation? We can definitely see the maturity gap as we come through a little more in emotional sobriety. You could definitely tell who's been around a little while. The guy has been here 5 years, the guy has been here 5 minutes. We're going to have different, person that's been through the steps is going to have a different allegiance, a spiritual awakening. Who are we obeying? Are we obeying the ego? Are we obeying God? Where are our feet on a day-to-day basis? Am I cheating? Am I stealing? Am I lying for my own selfish, self-centered gains? To try and control things? To try and abate fear? Get things to go my way? Or am I living in love, in honesty, in integrity, and surrendering outcomes to God, and trusting that His will is the best for me? Just like we saw in Daniel there the other day, right? When he went with God's will, things went out 10 times better. That's something to keep my mind on there too. For when the foolish took their lamps, they did not take any extra oil with them, but the wise took flasks of oil along with their lamps. And, in parables, I kind of find it like an artistic form. And, when you look at a piece of art, you kind of say to yourself, what does this mean to me? Or, art means different things to everyone. So what is the lamp? What is the oil for you? And for me, I'm always about, my sponsor always said, ask for more help than you need. And I believe that. Even if I don't think I need help, I'm still going to get prayed up. I need the godly help, So for me, oil is prayer, meditation during the day, doing my 10th step, going to an extra meeting, picking up an outreach call. It's all good. It all keeps me leveraged in love, a lot more than leveraged in selfishness and fear and all of this. So I try and do that 10th step, And one of the most important parts of the 10th step is turning my thoughts to others. I don't have to actually do something, but turning my thoughts to others is a good thing. for me to keep in mind. I keep myself out of self-pity, thinking of myself, what's going to happen to me in the future? How can I protect myself against fears? None of it's going to happen in the present. I'm here. I'm here now with God. Now, while the bridegroom was delayed, they all began to nod off, and they fell asleep. But at midnight there was a shout, "Look, the bridegroom is coming. Go out to meet him." Then all those virgins got up and put their lamps in order, trimming down the wicks and adding oil, and they lit them. So what are the wicks that we need to trim down so we can get that lamp to fully light up the best it can? For me, I was thinking those are definitely my character defects. You know, and maybe I'll add a little bit of, I'll top up the tank. I'll top up, get some more prayer, meditation, some more meetings, some more service. I'm just about to sneeze. Maybe not. John 8:12 tells us who God is here. I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will not walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. I certainly want some light of life. Holy crap. I'm tired of the darkness of death. That's the death, to have light means I'm not going to be stubbing my toes and stepping on spiritual Legos all the time. You know what I mean? It's painful, this stuff. Yeah, so we're just doing what we can there. But the foolish virgins said to the wise, "Give us some of your oil, because our lamps are going out." But the wise replied, "No, otherwise there will not be enough for us, and for you too. Go instead to the dealer and buy oil for yourself." It's good to be prepared, because just think about if the addiction were to jump on you, you don't want to have to go somewhere. I mean, sometimes you can, but imagine if this dealer was closed. Do you have to go to another dealer? It's a lot better to be prepared. Because we see what happens here, because they're not prepared. But while they were going out to buy oil, the bridegroom came. And what dealers open at midnight? Right? Oh, who are we talking about here? It's kind of like going to a meeting. What meetings are happening at midnight? I know they exist, but it's not my normal meeting. I didn't get prayed up today. I thought it was good. I skipped my meeting. Now here I am, freaking, I got hit with some lust, and I'm not ready for it. The same thing can happen for Jesus, if we're not prepared, if we're not staying in that relationship, tending it daily, we'll be a lot like these people coming up here. But while they were out buying oil, the bridegroom came, and those who were ready went in with him to the wedding feast, and the door was shut and locked. Later, the others came and said, "Lord, Lord, open the door for us." But he replied, "I assure you, and most solemnly say to you, I do not know you." We have no relationship. Therefore, be on the alert and be prepared and ready, for you do not know the day nor the hour when the Son of Man will come. And we do not know these things. So, what would you do? That was a question I was asking myself. What would I do if I knew Jesus was coming tomorrow? If it's on the news and they're like, "Hey, get prepared, guys. Jesus is coming tomorrow." It's kind of like sweeping because somebody's coming over your house. Well, what would you do differently if you knew Jesus was coming tomorrow? Do you know Jesus? Do you have a relationship with him? Have you allowed him into your heart to have this relationship? He says, "I have no relationship with you." Let's have a relationship with God before it's too late. Right? And it's not too late yet. The door is not locked yet. But I can say nothing when Jesus catches up the church into the air. And everyone else is stuck here. I don't know what's going to happen, so let's not play that game. Let's stay prepared. But what does prepared mean? Matthew 24 might help us out with that little deal. Therefore, stay awake, for you do not know of the day the Lord is coming. When we go through the 12 steps, we become spiritually awakened, right? As the result of the spiritual awakening. But guess what? You can go back to sleep if you're not constantly staying awake. Right? Have you done that? Have you been so tired that you know if you sit on the couch, you're going to go to sleep, so you have to keep on doing things? Have you ever been in that position? I have. When I'm working overnight, you sit on the couch, you're done for. But you're trying to stay up because this is your weekend day, and you need to flip it around, because if you fall asleep, you're going to waste the day off. And so that's what the spiritual awakening is. It's a profound alteration in our reaction to life. The spiritual appendix says there, Appendix 2 in the back of the AA Big Book. A lot of these things, the way I have faith in life, or I try to have faith in life, I try to stay prepared. I'm going through life in the present moment. I'm trying to love. I'm trying to forgive instead of resent. I'm trying to look to understand instead of get angry, as the Bible says there. Slow to anger, quick to understand, right? All these things that try and stay in love instead of fear, instead of self-centeredness, instead of selfishness. I won't lust. I'm trying to go to life and be of service. That's faith for me. I'm so fast to get into fear and to try and control things based on the fears that I have and the outcomes that I think I should have and the feelings I should have now and how you're going to make me feel better. All of it, I try and let go of this defensiveness, right? Always, everyone's going to hurt me. Can I go to people in love and service instead of trying to get everything I can get out of life? I like this passage in the Course of Miracles. It says that Adam fell asleep and that there is no mention of him waking up. Just imagine, I think he fell asleep to the love and to the understanding of who God really is. And all of us have fallen asleep, and we've come to believe in these boogie stories. Oh, God's mean, God's angry, God's this, God's that. Why are you covering yourself up with leaves? Don't you know who I am? I'm loving. No, you're not loving. You're going to hurt me. You're going to shame me, God. He's fallen asleep. He has no clue who God is anymore. And so I think that's what we're trying to do here. Who is God? Can we wake up to that realization every day and act like it's true? A hard one, that. For real, eh? AA warns us of the dangers of going to sleep. Page 85 here. It is easy to let up on the spiritual program of action and rest on our laurels. We are headed for trouble if we do, for alcohol is a subtle foe. We are not cured of alcoholism. These thoughts, all this old stuff that I have in my brain, all this need for control and fear, ideas, concepts, and beliefs, as my sponsor would say there. What we really have is a daily reprieve contingent on the maintenance of our spiritual condition. Every day is the day when we must carry the vision of God's will into all of our activities. How can I best serve thee? Thy will, not mine, be done. These are thoughts which must go with us constantly. We can exercise our will along these lines as much as we'd wish. It is the proper use of the will. And we can see how dangerous it was, this will that the Pharaoh took back, Oh, you guys can go. You guys can go. You're free to go. God's going to take care of the plagues for us. Nope. You guys come back. I'm going to chase you. And what happened to Pharaoh? He died. Him and his entire army. Just by the hardening of his heart. We just have to stay back from the hardening of my heart and the forgetting. Even the entire New Testament is filled with forgetting. Babylon, right? Babylon was full of forgetting. People are constantly getting conquered, worshiping another idols, forgetting about God, forgetting about who's keeping me sober, who brought me out of Egypt. God literally walked us through a river that he was holding up. And then on the next day, I'll be like, yeah, but I feel bad today. I guess I have to take care of myself. In the same way, baffled. But it's daily reprieve, like, and also it builds faith in me. Like, God kept me sober for the last year, and He will do the same today. But I need to ask, you know? And I need to have faith that it will happen, and to have faith in love, and have faith in God. That's the stuff that I'm trying to do on a daily basis, right? We got all of this trust stuff, it's not easy. All of these trials that God is trying to make us better with. But do I trust that? Right? Isaiah 48:10. Indeed, I have refined you, but not as silver. I have tested you and shows you in the furnace of affliction. So if God is allowing afflictions to happen to us, they are good for us. God is allowing them to happen, right? God allows Peter to be sifted as wheat. I allow my servant Job to be tested. All of this stuff, right? That's good for us. It has to be good for us. Do we trust that? Or am I just saying, doesn't feel good today, I'm in control, num 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 num. Whatever I'm going to numb myself out with, I'm in self-pity, things aren't going my way. But they're going God's way. Nothing is in God's world by mistake, says the acceptance paragraph, right? And that's just been the continual learning of the spiritual experience of the educational variety. This slow trust, this slow belief in God's righteousness in all situations. And allowing these things to happen and trying to be grateful for them. I'm reminded of that. Be thankful for everything. In all things give thanks, right? And I think it was Corrie ten Boom that said, she was saying to her sister in Auschwitz, right? Be grateful for the fleas. She was like, I'm not going to be grateful for the fleas. They hurt. Little did they know, it was the fleas that were keeping the guards out of their cell or their barracks there, because the guards didn't want to get bitten by the fleas. So, who knows what the guards would have done to them, especially women, right? And so you never know what to be grateful for or why. But I try and sit there, because gratitude feels a lot better than self-pity, sadness, and all this stuff, and oh, poor me, all this. What if I could be grateful and trust that God is making me into the person that I need to be? If I want to be in a relationship, guess what? I need the ability to feel my feelings and the ability to process and feel your feelings too, without needing to numb them or fix them. But can I make space for my own feelings? What are fleas, right? And how can you be grateful for them? How is God growing you? This is the trust. I think I sit there and maybe I'm asleep when I wake up. And I have to do all of these things to become spiritually awake and remember to remind myself, like literally listen to that word. I have to remind myself. I also like the word brainwash. I have to wash my brain because it's dirty. It wakes up and it's sick, and I have to treat it with medication spiritually. Otherwise, very, very shortly, I'm going to be in a bad place. I'm going to be feeling bad because the world's not going my way. I'm going to need to numb out things. That's why we have to be vigilant here. In 1 Peter 5:8, be sober, well-balanced, and self-disciplined. Be alert and cautious at all times. The enemy of yours, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion, fiercely hungry, seeking someone to devour. And if I'm not doing my spiritual push-ups, if God's not taking care of me, that blank spot that they talk about is going to catch up on me, and I'll just be acting out somehow. Something will seem like a good idea. But I think part of my spiritual awakening is knowing how bad of an idea it was. I used to think about all these sins and say, oh, that would be so much fun. That would feel great. That would make me feel better. But now, when I see these things, God really shows me how bad they're going to be, how awful they'll make me feel. Instead of feeling excitement and adrenaline, I feel like I got like kicked in the shins. I feel like you're getting beaten up by Crimson Chin there. Boo, pah, what all this. But that is just what happens when I go to sleep. I forget how bad of an idea it was, and I think to myself, oh, it's been a month, it's been a year, it's been a whatever. Maybe it's a good idea. Here we go, right here. If you think you're doing good, 1 Corinthians 10:12, therefore, let the one who thinks he's standing firm and he's immune to temptation, being overconfident and self-righteous, take care that he does not fall into sin and condemnation, because I will. If I think I've got this, if I think I don't need anything, I don't need to help anyone, I don't need to, I'll be shown pretty fast how much I do need those things. It's a wrap for me, and I've done this so many times. Replacing God with sex and women and food and all of these things. And I fall into the pit. If you ever read that book, the GoPro's having a little trouble, so I'll lightly finish here about my story, reading Homer's Odyssey in high school, but all these siren songs were going off, and they were all like, oh, wow, this is fun. This sounds like great. It was beautiful female sounds, and I'm sure they were all like, oh, let's go there and have some fun. But they go there, and I think they're eating. No fun for them. And they were either eaten or they had to stay there for the rest of their lives. So that is kind of the prison of addiction, the prison of the tempting devil sounds that I hear in my ears, tempting worldly clamors, as the AA Big Book puts it there. But I just have to continue to focus on God and on on heavenly things. See, even my ego is trying to get in there. I don't want to focus on the worldly things. What's going to make me feel good today? Where's the sugar? I think there's some 50% off candy at the store. Let me numb out. But you see, I'm a human man, and we will see this one right here, Romans 5:20. But the law came to increase and expand the awareness of the trespass by defining and unmasking sin. But when the sin increased, God's remarkable, gracious gift of grace, his unmerited favor, has surpassed it and increased all the more. Do we believe that is the God we serve, or do we believe something different? Because that is who God is telling us who he is. If you make a mistake, I'm going to forgive you all the more. And then again and again. As many times as you feel humble enough to come back and to nuke Cheppy, to start over, to let go of the trimmings of this world, the things, the validation, the stuff, the people, the friends, the lust, the women, the sex, the food, the drugs, alcohol, coffee, work, and put those treasures and that effort into godly things like service and love and friendship, and making YouTube videos. Maybe you could save some of that money that you were going to buy a possession with and have more time to spend with friends, more time to love people, right? Because all these things will rot. Who knows if you'll even get it out of the box, right? A lot of the times addiction is just the adrenaline of the hunt. And I'm just like, once I get there, what's the point? I don't even want to be here. Can I trust God that he can get me through it, and I don't need any worldly thing to get me through today? I say this to myself as much as I say it to anyone else, because I need to remember it. Just because I'm on day, who cares? Doesn't mean I'm any further away. Doesn't mean I don't have to depend on God today and do godly things and not act out of fear and self-centeredness and who's going to hurt me and how can I get my way and who's going to make me feel better. But, really trying to depend on that St. Francis prayer there, and trying to be more like Matthew 4:16. The people lived in darkness, having seen a great light. On those living in the land of the shadow of death, a light has dawned. And that light is pretty hopeful for me in step 2 right there, And I've seen a great light because I spent a lot of time in that darkness. And I think people have shown me that light. And I'm trying to show other people that light now too. Put that light on a lampstand, not cover it with a basket as sometimes I do out of fear. Oh, I'm not here. Don't hurt me. Don't judge me for being Christian, sober. I'm cool. Do you guys like me? But that's it for today, I hope we can all do our best to live humbly and live as if God was coming tomorrow, because he might be. And I know one thing for sure, temptation is coming tomorrow. So that's one thing we can definitely hang our hats on, our need for God and our need to flee from temptation. Because God is strong, and he will if we let him. So, yes, thank you all for being here, and I wish you all the best. Wish you a lot of serenity. I made that one up because, I really do have serenity when I surrender to what I think should happen, how I should feel. Can I just be grateful? I don't know. But I know one thing. The darkness hates the light. So let's stay in the light. You take good care.